I never thought one moment could ruin everything. It was all perfect until the day I received that letter, a letter I never should have read. It all began at an inter-school sports event. Our boys' volleyball team from Hilltop High School was playing against St. Joseph's Boys High. I was sitting with my classmates, cheering our team on, when I first saw him. His name was Samuel, and even though he wasn't part of the game, something about him caught my attention. He was sitting with his friends, laughing and talking, completely unaware of the world around him. I nudged my best friend Amina and pointed him out. She teased me endlessly that day, saying I finally had my eyes on a boy. It was silly, really, to feel so drawn to someone I hadn't even spoken to. But I couldn't stop myself from thinking about him. Days passed, and I couldn't get Samuel out of my head. Amina encouraged me to find a way to talk to him, but I was too shy. Writing was easier for me. So, after weeks of daydreaming and stolen glances, I decided to write him a letter. Nothing too bold, just a simple introduction. I told him my name, where I'd seen him, and asked if he'd like to be friends. I asked one of my friends who had a brother at St. Joseph's to give Samuel the letter. To my surprise, he wrote back. His reply was sweet and funny. He told me that he'd noticed me at the game too but didn't know how to approach me. From that moment on, we started exchanging letters every week. Each note felt like a small secret between us, a connection growing slowly and quietly. We began meeting after school, always in secret. There was this big mango tree just outside the school gates, where we'd sit and talk for hours. We'd laugh about silly things, share our dreams for the future, and sometimes even talk about the pressure we faced in school. Samuel told me he wanted to become an engineer. I told him I dreamed of being a writer. He made me feel special, like I could do anything, like the world outside didn't matter. But as much as I was falling for him, I knew there was a risk. Relationships between students were strictly forbidden. If anyone from either school found out, we'd both face serious consequences, possibly even expulsion. Amina warned me that I was playing with fire, but I ignored her. I didn't want to think about the consequences. I was too caught up in the way Samuel made me feel. One afternoon, after I had finished my final exams for the term, I went to meet Samuel by the mango tree, like always. But when I got there, he wasn't waiting for me. Instead, I found a letter pinned to the trunk of the tree. My heart sank as I pulled it off and started reading. The letter wasn't from Samuel. It was from a girl named Rebecca, and she claimed to be Samuel's girlfriend. She wrote that she had found out about me and Samuel, and she wasn't happy. She warned me to stay away from him, calling me nothing more than a passing distraction. I couldn't believe it. How could Samuel do this to me? How could he have another girlfriend all along and never tell me? My hands trembled as I read her words over and over again, each sentence making me feel worse. I didn't want to believe it, but the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Samuel had never mentioned Rebecca, and now it seemed like everything we had shared was a lie. That evening, I waited for him at the tree. When he finally arrived, I handed him the letter without saying a word. He looked confused at first, then guilty. He tried to explain, telling me that his relationship with Rebecca had been complicated, that he hadn't known how to break things off with her. But his excuses felt empty. Everything between us felt like it had been built on lies. I walked away from Samoa that day, feeling hurt and betrayed. I didn't cry, not until I got home. The pain was too much to bear. I felt humiliated for believing in something that was never real. Amina was there for me, reminding me that this was just a lesson, not the end of the world. But it still hurt. In the days that followed, I stopped writing to Samoa, stopped meeting him, and tried to focus on healing. It wasn't easy, but I learned a lot from that experience. I learned about trust, about patience, and most importantly, about self-worth. Looking back, I realized I wasn't ready for the kind of love I thought I had with Samoa. It was too rushed, too fragile, and I was too naive. Some experiences just aren't meant to have happy endings, and that's okay. It's the lessons that matter.